In the words of AC/DC, we're back in black. Pokemon Black, that is. And I'm taking my own advice from the Meloetta run. I'm finally running Krookodile in Pokemon Black. Rules are on screen, but also in the description. I mentioned in some of my earlier Pokemon Black runs that I used a Krookodile on my team when I first played through these games, and for good reason. It's a monster. It has a base attack stat of 117 and a speed stat of 92, so there isn't going to be much that moves first against us, and it has a lot of physical options as well, starting with Bite, which also gives same type attack bonus damage, and Rage, which has gotten a lot better since Generation 1. Through level up, there's only one move we learn that's a special move, and it will have a bit of a niche use early on. As far as the rest of our level up moves go, we get Torment at 10, which this move has tormented me in my Pokemon X and Y runs, Sand Tomb at 13, Assurance at 16, Mudslap at 19, Embargo at 22, Swagger at 25, Crunch at 28, Dig at 32, Scary Face at 36, Foul Play at 42, Sandstorm at 48, Earthquake at 54, and Outrage at 60. What makes Krookodile so great is its ability, Moxie. Each time you knock out a Pokemon, your attack raises by one stage, and for a Pokemon whose physical attack is much higher than its special attack, in a region that gives plenty of attack EVs, Krookodile is going to feast. Its other ability is Intimidate, which just lowers the foe's attack one stage, only on their lead Pokemon, which isn't useful in a solo run. But you could also make a case that its hidden ability, Anger Point, could be better than Moxie. The way this ability works is that if you get hit with a critical hit, your attack automatically rises to +6. And while something like this could help Krookodile sweep even quicker, I wouldn't want to rely on that luck of getting hit by a critical hit. Enough about the abilities though, I want to quickly talk TMs. Because of Moxie, I don't think a TM like Hone Claws or Bulk Up, both of which are available in the post-game, will be needed. TM lists are quite long in these later games, and Krookodile doesn't need many TMs along the way. I'll cover those when we get to them. The last thing I'll say is that Krookodile is in the medium-slow level up group, the same as the starters, and the best growth rate for any playthrough, so when Krookodile defeats En's Purloin, it reaches level 8. I'm going to be going minimum battles until I reach the Dream Yard and have to get my Elemental Monkey, only taking on youngster Jimmy before facing Bianca. With Bite though, I'm able to one-shot both her lead Lillipup and her Snivy, as Krookodile reaches level 10. From here, I'm going to head straight to the trainer school without healing to face Charon, and you might have noticed something that could slow this run down overall, which is the fact that the text for Moxie prints with every knockout, even when you knock out the trainer's final Pokemon. And while I still think Krookodile has S-tier potential for my rankings, I don't think it's going to beat out Meloetta's time from the last run. After defeating Charon, I make my way to the gym, once again skipping a heal at the Pokemon Center. The good thing about having a move like Bite as a starting move is that it has plenty of PP for this early game and hits hard enough. Although against the early game Purloins, I switched to Rage just to have some neutral damage. After quickly defeating Waiter Maxwell and Waitress Tia, I'm ready for the first gym leader, which for today is Cress. Lillipup is his lead, Bite is a 2-shot as it just sets up with Workup, Moxie boosts my attack, Krookodile levels up to 13 and can learn Sand Tomb, which I'm going to teach for now in the place of Sand Attack. Panpour is last, and Bite gets a critical hit to one-shot his ace. Moxie of course triggers, and that's the first badge. One thing I usually do in these Pokemon Black runs is grab the Dusk Ball from the guy behind Professor Fennel's house, but for not playing these games in 3+ months at the time of this voiceover recording, I completely forgot. I'm also not going to be grabbing the hidden Ultra Ball because doing daycare training isn't necessary. I still haven't healed at a Pokemon Center or saved my game to this point in this run. Krookodile is just a monster, and Charon is another victim just standing in Krookodile's way. Because I didn't grab the Dusk or Ultra Ball, I have to use the 5 regular Pokeballs you receive at the beginning of the game. This Woobat does break out of one of them, but thankfully I catch it with my second. I don't have any problems catching a second Woobat or a Roggenrola. I grab the glitched rare candy on Route 3 and enter Nakarine City. After depositing my HM users, I head straight for the gym. I could head west of town and do extra training, but that isn't necessary. I could also grab the Rock Smash TM, which Krookodile can learn and has super effective damage against the upcoming gym, but I don't need that TM. And Krookodile is going to learn a move while in the gym that will be more useful against Lenora. I do have to battle N before I can enter the gym. He's not a challenge, and I've taught Assurance just to have another same type attack bonus move on my set, because Torment was just dead weight at this point. But something interesting in this N battle happens. Once his final Pokemon Timber faints, I don't get a Moxie boost. And that's because Timber fainted due to the secondary effect of Sand Tomb, dealing chip damage at the end of the turn. I wanted to point this out now because it's not going to be the last time we see it. When facing Schoolgirl Lydia, the final trainer before Lenora, after I knock out her first Lillipup, Krookodile reaches level 19 and can learn Mud Slap. While it is a special move, I'm going to teach it in the place of Rage, because I think it's going to be key to potentially first try Lenora. I was confident that I would first try Unova's toughest gym leader that I put on a Chesto Berry before the battle and took my first save. Let's see if I can. Herdier is her lead. Its Intimidate lowers my attack a stage, but I'll be back to neutral once I knock it out, as long as it's Krookodile who knocks it out, and not a secondary effect or recoil damage doing it. I get lucky with Herdier missing its first 2 takedowns as Bite brings it to low red health. Lenora uses her super potion and I'm hoping that Bite can get a flinch so that I can get to Watchog with full health. That doesn't happen. Herdier hits a takedown, doing about a third before I take it out. Moxie boosts my attack, Krookodile levels up over a damage rounding threshold, and out comes Watchog. I'm going to go for Mud Slap to lower Watchog's accuracy and hope that it misses any damage dealing moves. It opens with Hypnosis and misses. I switch to Sand Tomb to get chip damage at the end of the turn as it misses Retaliate, and my next bite is enough to finish her ace and earn the second badge. As I leave town, I don't bother battling Nurse Sherry. Instead, I'm just going to pick up the Ether. In Pinwheel Forest, I battle this ranger for some extra Chesto Berries, but this is a time waste, because I'm going to be skipping the rest TM, and I'm not going to grab it in the post-game either. Let's jump ahead to Castalia City and the Castalia City gym. Berg is a gym leader that is worrisome. His Leavanny has Razor Leaf, which deals super effective damage to Krookodile and has a high critical hit chance. Thinking back to what I said earlier about Anger Point, this is a battle where that ability could be useful, only if you're able to tank a Razor Leaf. I still think Moxie is by far the better ability, and hopefully Berg sends out his Leavanny last, that way we can have a +2 attack stat when we face it. Whirlipede is his lead. I went for Sand Tomb originally because I forgot that his Whirlipede doesn't have Poison Point as an ability, it has Swarm. It does less than half after chip damage at the end of the turn as Whirlipede hits me with a Screech, harshly lowering my defense. I switch to Bite to knock it out, and he sends out his Ace Leavanny next. Bite does about 2/3 to it. It goes for Razor Leaf, which is a physical move, and thanks to the Screech from Whirlipede, Leavanny has more than enough damage to give Krookodile its first reset. In the next battle, I use Bite right away as Whirlipede goes for Struggle Bug. While super effective against me, it deals pathetic damage and lowers my special attack. I knock it out and move on to his ace once again. I'm going to go for Mud Slap to see if I can get some lucky misses. It does pathetic damage as Leavanny double resists it, and its speed controls me with String Shot. Leavanny now outspeeds and goes for Razor Leaf the following turn, but we get a miss as Bite gets a critical hit to one-shot it. I level up to 25, say no to Swagger, and knock out his final Pokemon Dwebble with a single bite. I have to battle both Bianca and Charon as I leave town. Neither are a challenge though. Moxie go brr. On Route 4 though, I am going to grab a TM. Even though Krookodile learns Dig at level 32, I'm going to grab the TM for it now because it's going to be an immediate upgrade over both Mud Slap and Sand Tomb. And the upgrades keep coming. Once I defeat the Plasma Grunt who's bullying the old man when you enter Nimbasa, Krookodile hits level 28 and can learn Crunch. I teach this in the place of Assurance. In the Nimbasa City Pokemon Center, later, I purchased the TM for return, just to have some additional coverage if needed. I crush N and enter the Nimbasa City gym. I triggered static from one of the Emolgas within the gym, and I didn't buy Paralyze Heals when at the Nimbasa Pokemon Center, but this is an electric type gym and a ground type like Krookodile shouldn't have a problem against Elisa, right? Because I'm immune to her electric type moves, her Emolgas are going to use moves like Aerial Ace and Pursuit against me. Her first hits me twice with Aerial Ace due to getting caught in paralysis once before Crunch one-shots. Her second Emolga comes out and gets a critical hit with its opening Aerial Ace, as once again Krookodile loses a turn to paralysis before I one-shot it. Zebstrika is last and I thought for sure it would go for Flame Charge and knock me out, but it chooses Quick Attack, and once again Krookodile gets caught in paralysis. It goes for Flame Charge the next turn, and Krookodile survives with 3 HP remaining. I'm able to get off a dig, which easily one-shots her ace. Before leaving town, I have to play dress up with Bianca, and Krookodile goes all out with the grass skirt, maraca, blue bow, and glasses. Cheering as I exit town is not a problem, and once I enter Driftville City, I head over to the market to pick up the expert belt. I also grab the hidden PP up. I'm just going to dump this into Earthquake later, but could have just skipped it before heading to Clay's gym. Between dig, crunch, and return, I can easily get one-shots on all of Clay's gym trainer's Pokemon, and Moxie just makes the ones with multiple Pokemon that much easier. No intro for Clay himself, I just sweep his team with dig. I didn't really expect anything else against the 5th gym leader. Bianca as I leave town isn't a challenge, but remember earlier in the run when I pointed out the battle against N, that it wouldn't be the last time that some secondary effect prevents our Moxie boost? Well, that happens again in this battle, all thanks to the hail. I do get back to neutral attack the next turn after knocking out Panpour, and the rest of her team is easy to clean up. Next up is Chargestone Cave, and Krookodile doesn't struggle against the Plasma Gauntlet here. There is the rare candy and the bright powder in the basement, but I'm going to be skipping both, and I won't even be coming back here in the post game for either item. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. I do have to battle N at the end of Chargestone Cave. Krookodile obviously doesn't struggle. What did you really expect from N though? Nothing of interest happens in Mistralton City or Celestial Tower. I could grab the Aerial Ace TM after defeating Skyla, but decided to skip it completely, although it could have seen some use in the post game. One thing that annoyed me a bit in this playthrough, which is my own fault, my repel runs out before reaching the top floor. I thought, no big deal, I think I can make it to the stairs without opening the menu to use another repel. No, I get 5 total encounters, all Litwicks, before I can even talk to Skyla. Very frustrating, but I should have just used the repel once it ran out. That's on me. As for Skyla herself, she's really easy. Crunch combined with Moxie just sweeps her team. There's nothing else to say. Sharon outside of Twist Mountain is generally when battles against him get difficult, but even in the hail, he's really easy. Alright, rapid fire with some item pickup here. I grabbed the Twist Mountain Winter Candy, followed by the Substitute TM, which is the 3rd TM we've picked up in this run. And the 4th is shortly after, as I grab Brick Break from the old lady in the Pokemon Center. I grab the Iciris exclusive candy and crush Bryson. Brick Break and Moxie are more than enough to sweep his team. Dragon Spiral Tower time, and in terms of what Yu-Gi-Oh monster I thought Krookodile compared to, my first thought was Crocodilus, but this weak monster can't hold a candle to our Beastie Boy. Then I discovered this thing. That effect and level are more comparable. I also thought about that monster Garuzi's Joey always used for a hot second, but the description of this card says it has the head of a dragon, so not quite. Krookodile doesn't struggle in the back-to-back-to-back-to-back plasma battles, and now it's time to head back to Nimbasa and backtrack. I have to head to Relic Castle. I made sure to grab the HM for strength in Nimbasa because I wanted to pick up the Route 2 rare candy afterwards. I'm going to pick up the rare candy that's hidden in the desert resort. I ended up getting caught by Psychic Gavin and a backpacker because I try to just beeline it to Relic Castle. The rust was really showing in this section of the run. After completing Relic Castle and getting the Lightstone from Lenora, I have to battle Bianca before I can enter Opalucid City. The only one of her Pokemon that's able to damage me is Superior, and its Leaf Blade hits hard, but Moxie brings me to +1 after I knock it out. And thankfully a +1 return is enough to one-shot Simipour, and Musharna is an easy one-shot with Crunch. Before I head through the Opalucid City gym though, I backtracked to Nimbasa for one thing, which is the Macho Brace. In case you don't know what this item does, it doubles the EVs you receive from defeating Pokemon in battle, at the cost of halving your speed in battle. The many Fractures and Drudigans you face give 2 attack EVs, which is doubled to 4 with the Macho Brace. Perfect for Krookodile, and thankfully none of the Drudigans cause problems today. I even leave the Macho Brace on when facing Drayden, which gives me even more attack EVs. And his team is extremely easy. I do have one final battle against Chirin before Victory Road, and he gets me in this first attempt. After knocking out his lead on Pheasant, I go for Return on Samurott. I should have used Crunch because it does have the higher base power after factoring in Stab. Return leaves his starter on low red health. It retaliates with Aqua Tail, dealing massive damage, leaving Krookodile on 7 hit points. Samurott also has Priority Aqua Jet, and that's my second reset of the run. I taught Dig over Return before the next battle, and stick with this move after knocking out his lead on Pheasant, which gets the clean sweep. There isn't much to cover in Victory Road. I grabbed the candy you have to surf to, but I'm also going to pick up another TM, and I just want to say this now, this TM is not needed, and I didn't make use of it, which makes this a frustrating time loss. The rust really shows here. After getting the League as a fly point, I venture back into Victory Road to grab the Dragonclaw TM. I thought I would need this against N and Ghetsis, but I have Earthquake for N's Dragon and Brick Break for Ghetsis'. Don't go 3+ months between runs, guys. Now, let's face the League. I decided to start things out with Grimsley. I expected Caitlyn and Chantal to be easy, Marshall to cause problems, and I didn't know what to expect from the Dark-type specialist of the league. Aside from not being able to one-shot his lead Scrafty with Brick Break and taking 1 in retaliation, the verdict is, Grimsley is also easy, but not as easy as Caitlyn and Chantal. Brick Break has more than enough damage to one-shot everything after his lead at a minimum of +1. Caitlyn's next. Leave your cursor on Crunch, get boost from Moxie, and sweep. It's the same strategy for Chantal, except I get rid of Moxie for Mummy due to making contact with her lead Coffin. But here's the thing, Krookodile doesn't care. I don't trigger Cursed Body from Jellicent, so I can leave my cursor on this move and one-shot her team, even without the Moxie attack boost. This brings us to Marshall. Earthquake doesn't have the power to one-shot his lead Throw, who hits me with Bulldoze, lowering my speed. I'm still faster than it and the following Conkeldurr, who I one-shot with Earthquake, but I'm slower than his ace Mienshao, and Jump Kick ends me. In the next battle, Throw elects for Storm Throw over Bulldoze. It does about half, but at least my speed is intact, and I can now move first against his ace Mienshao as Earthquake decimates it, and last is Sawk. I'm going to have to two-shot it because of its ability Sturdy, and with Karate Chop leaving me on low red health, the battle is won. The blue fighter falls once Marshall runs out of healing items. The league overall, not a problem. In N's Castle, there's an additional candy I can grab, and this is my 7th overall that I've picked up. I've skipped the Chargestone Cave candy, Route 16 candy, and Anvil Town candy. There's also the candy in Mistralton Cave and the Lostlorn Forest, but those are out of the way and take time and should be saved for the post-game if absolutely needed. I'm bringing this all up because I'm not going to use a single candy with Krookodile before facing N and Ghetsis. It just doesn't need them, and I can save them all for the post-game and grab some quick ones that I skipped prior. Now, let's defeat the final 2 trainers of the run. Zekrom is his lead, Earthquake easily one-shots it, and the battle from here is simple. I can one-shot the following Vanillix with Brick Break, along with the Zoroark. I have to two-shot Caracosta due to its sturdy ability, and it hits hard with Waterfall. I thought after N burned his full restore, I might see Aqua Jet, but I don't. The real Kling goes down to a Brick Break, and at +5, Archeops crumbles as well. Against Getsis, I don't want to make contact against his lead Cofagrigus. I set up with Substitute turn 1 to avoid Toxic, and I have to two-shot it with Earthquake. But like with N, just choose the correct move and press A as your attack slowly goes up. Brick Break the Hydreigon, Earthquake for the Seismitoad, and Brick Break for the Bisharp, Bouffalant, and Electros. What a great run to return to in 3+ months. Krookodile finishes with a real time of 1 hour 19 minutes and 48 seconds at level 61, with an in-game time of 4 hours and 48 minutes, claiming the second overall spot on my tier list in these games for now. I think after I do a few more runs, I'm going to rebalance this tier list some. I knew Krookodile probably wasn't going to beat out Meloetta for the top spot on the tier list, but perhaps it can place higher in the post-game tier list. We have seen before where some Pokemon dominate the main game and struggle in the post-game. I don't think Krookodile is going to be one of those Pokemon, but there's only one way to find out. The first thing I'm going to do is pick up some candies I skipped prior, starting with the Pinwheel Forest candy. Then I head to Anvil Town for that rare candy, and to Route 16 for that rare candy. I could have picked up the Chargestone Cave candy as well, but elected to skip it. Once I grab the Route 16 candy though, I head east to Undella Town. I'm going to deposit my HM users and blackout grind against Cynthia. Being in the medium slow level up group, along with being able to get by at least 2 of her Pokemon to start, doesn't make this grind terrible. My goal was to blackout grind to level 65 and then pop my 10 rare candies and try to defeat her for real, before taking on the league. My first attempt at level 75 does not go well. Cynthia's lead Spiritomb is a giant troll. It loves to set up double team, burn you with Will-O-Wisp, and hit you with Shadow Ball or Sucker Punch. Because it's breaking my substitute over and over, and because I also keep missing due to its double teams, I'm at a quarter of my HP, I don't have much PP of Earthquake left, and none of Crunch by the time I take it out and move on to Milotic. I thankfully keep my substitute past the water type because it misses Hydro Pump, and Lucario is also an easy one-shot with Earthquake. I have to two-shot her Braviary with Brick Break though, and it's able to break my substitute with Retaliate, and while I make it past the bird, she sends out her ace Garchomp next who's faster, and Dragon Rush ends the battle. I make it back to Garchomp in the next battle with a lot more HP. Krookodile hangs on from a Dragon Rush, and a +4 Earthquake one-shots her ace. She only has the Electros left, and a +5 Crunch one-shots the levitating electric type. Before I head back to the league, I stop in Driftville to grab the Shell Bell. I don't need to spend a lot of time covering Chantal, Caitlyn, or Grimsley. It's essentially the same strategy as their round 1 battles. With Chantal, I set up Substitute just to block Will-O-Wisp, and then just leave my cursor on Crunch and Sweep. For Caitlyn, I set up Substitute to block Hypnosis. She swaps to Reuniqueless in this case, but Crunch one-shots easily, and with Moxie, I can easily sweep. I thought Grimsley would be a bit more challenging due to his lead Sharpedo and the addition of Drapion, but no, Krookodile is faster than his lead and I can Moxie sweep. This once again brings us to Marshall, and I hate his round 2 team. The lead Breloom loves to put you to sleep with Spore, and it also has the ability Affect Spore. I don't even make it by his lead in this first battle, and I had so many attempts just end at Breloom, and I would trigger Affect Spore so damn much. The furthest I could make it in any given battle was to his third Pokemon, which is usually Sawk, but because of its sturdy ability, I have to two-shot it, and close combat just ends Krookodile. I lost to Marshall a grand total of 17 times in a row before I said screw it. I'm just going to take the blackout and go through the league again. The good thing is that I can get through the other 3 league members quickly, and thanks to being in the medium slow level up group, I'm at level 83 when I make it back to Marshall. battle. And the luck I get in this battle, just watch. I start by setting up Substitute as Breloom finally opens with a Spore instead of just going for Sky Uppercut. I go for Return on the next turn, which leaves it on low yellow health, and right on cue, I trigger Effect Spore, which poisons Krookodile, but Breloom goes for a second Spore in a row. This is nice to see, but not nice that I'm poisoned. At least I have the Shell Bell on to offset some of this poison damage. I can knock out Breloom and the following Mienshao, and I have a substitute in place for Sawk for the first time. I can tank its close combat because of this while also gaining back HP with the Shell Bell thanks to Marshall burning through his healing items. Once Sawk falls, Throw, Conkeldurr, and Toxicroak all fall to a +3, 4, and 5 Earthquake. Now, let's face Alder. Excelgor is the lead. I thought this things would cause problems with Energy Ball or Focus Blast, but it goes for me first, hitting me with Return doing pathetic damage, as my Return one-shots, and in this run, Marshall was the true champion because Alder just can't cut it against Krookodile, with Moxie boosting my attack after every knockout and dealing either neutral or super effective damage to all of his Pokemon. Krookodile crosses the finish line and clocks in. Krookodile completes the postgame with a real time of 24 minutes and 59 seconds at level 85 with a cumulative game time of 5 hours and 56 minutes. With the additional game time of an hour and 8 minutes, Krookodile finds itself in the S tier, beating out Sawsbuck, whose postgame I still need to redo to match the second run I gave it last year, when I was overall disappointed in my play and the mistakes I made in that run. I was not disappointed in my play in this run though. Sure, there was some rust, but that's expected. But I think I'll really knock the rust off in my next run. I think I'm going to play Reshiram next in Pokemon Black. Of all the native Unovan Pokemon, I expect this one to be the best of the bunch, or at least in the top 3. I think I'm gonna finish this month playing Pokemon Black and White, while switching to Pokemon Omega Ruby in the month of September, before we start to plan the year-end runs. As always, thank you for the continued support on the channel. Special shout out to my channel members, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Take care, everybody.